Alright, so this is one of those videos where I didn't plan to learn anything, and then somehow ended up with my brain slightly broken. Because the internet is full of facts that sound fake, but are unfortunately real. And once you hear them, you can't unhear them. So I'm just going to pass that responsibility on to you. No lessons, no meaning, just things that made me stop and say, why is that a thing? Let's start easy. Octopuses have 3 hearts. 2 of them pump blood to the gills. 1 pumps blood to the rest of the body. And for some reason, the heart that pumps blood to the body stops working when the octopus swims. Which means octopuses don't really like swimming. They prefer crawling. Imagine having 3 hearts and still being like, yeah, no cardio today. While we're on animals being strange, wombat poop is cube-shaped. Not sort of square, not almost cube-shaped, actual cubes. Scientists studied this for years. The conclusion was basically, the intestines are uneven, and nature just decided to do geometry. Somewhere out there, a wombat is producing math. Here's one that feels fake but isn't. Bananas are berries. Strawberries are not. That's not a joke. That's botany being annoying on purpose. If you've ever eaten a strawberry and thought, yeah, this feels like a berry, science says no. But bananas? Those count. Also, and you can test this if you want, you can't hum while holding your nose. You'll try, you won't succeed, and now you're slightly annoyed, which is perfect because people type faster when they're just a little annoyed. Not angry, not calm, just annoyed enough to want the thought out of their head. Your keyboard knows when you're irritated. Your brain is doing a lot of weird stuff without asking you, by the way. For example, your brain ignores your nose. It's always in your line of sight, but your brain just edits it out until someone mentions it, which I just did. You're welcome. Your brain also burns calories just by thinking. Not a lot. Don't get excited. But technically, doing absolutely nothing while overthinking is still doing something. Here's one that sounds completely made up. There are more possible games of chess than there are atoms in the observable universe. That number actually has a name, and it exists solely to remind you that even something with rules can spiral out of control, which feels familiar. Butterflies remember being caterpillars, even though their entire body liquefies inside the cocoon. Their brain still keeps the memories, so they wake up, look around, and apparently go, oh right, wings now. You are taller in the morning than you are at night. Gravity compresses your spine throughout the day. So by the time you go to bed, you're slightly shorter than when you woke up. Every day is a little humbling. Your brain also can't tell the difference between a real experience and a vividly imagined one, which explains why thinking about embarrassing moments still physically hurts. Your brain is like, nope, this is happening again. Silence in a conversation feels longer to you than it does to the other person. So when you think a pause is awkward, there's a good chance the other person didn't even notice. Your brain just panicked early. You also misremember at least one childhood memory. Guaranteed. Your brain fills in gaps over time until the memory feels real. Somewhere in your past, a story got upgraded without your permission. Your brain predicts the end of sentences before they're finished, which is why interruptions happen, and why finishing someone's sentence feels either impressive or extremely annoying. Yawning actually cools your brain. It's not just boredom, it's temperature control. So next time someone yawns mid-conversation, they weren't bored, they were buffering. Fake laughter can trigger real laughter. Your brain doesn't care if it's forced at first. It just hears the sound and goes, oh, we're doing this now. The color red can make time feel like it's moving faster. That's why it's used in casinos, fast food logos, and places where you're not supposed to linger. Music sounds better when you discover it randomly. Not when it's recommended. Not when someone sends it to you saying, you have to listen to this. Random discovery hits harder. Your brain likes feeling like it found something. Your phone feels heavier when you're tired. It weighs the same. You're just done. People are more honest when they think a conversation is almost over. That one last thing moment is where the truth sneaks out. Slight boredom increases creativity. Not extreme boredom, just enough space for your brain to wander. That's why ideas show up when you're doing something unimportant. Your brain edits reality in real time. You're not seeing the world directly. You're seeing a version your brain thinks makes sense, which is impressive and slightly concerning. People underestimate how funny they are, mostly because they don't hear themselves the way others do. Your brain is too busy analyzing delivery to enjoy the joke. Novelty matters more to the brain than accuracy. Your brain would rather hear something new than something correct, which explains a lot. Curiosity activates the reward system. Literally. Wanting to know something feels good. That's it. That's the whole mechanism. And finally, you remember endings more than beginnings, which is why first impressions matter less than how things conclude, and why this video probably stuck because you made it to the end. But here's something people don't realize. Your brain doesn't actually experience the present moment in real time. There's a delay. It's tiny, just a fraction of a second, but it's there. Your brain is constantly catching up, then pretending it was there the whole time. So technically, you're always living slightly in the past, not in a dramatic way, just enough to be interesting. Your brain also decides how loud something should sound before you actually hear it. That's why unexpected noises feel louder than they really are. Your brain guessed wrong. When you read silently, your brain uses the same regions as when you speak out loud, which means reading is basically talking to yourself, but politely. And if you hear a voice in your head while reading this, that's completely normal. That's just you. Waiting feels worse than actually doing something boring. Not because waiting is harder, but because your brain hates uncertainty. Standing in line with no idea how long it'll take feels worse than knowing it's exactly 10 minutes. Your brain just wants a number. Your brain also changes memories every time you remember them. Each recall slightly rewrites the original. So nostalgia is a collaboration. Food tastes better when you didn't expect it to, because expectation sets a baseline. When something beats the baseline, your brain releases more dopamine. Your brain loves being pleasantly wrong. Your brain doesn't like unfinished things. That's why cliffhangers work. That's why you remember tasks you didn't finish more than the ones you did. Your brain just wants closure. Which brings us back to this video. There's nothing to do with this information. These are just things your brain is already doing anyway. You're just more aware of them now.